Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. I hope you are having a great day. In today's stories, OP lost his wife and relies on his family's help to take care of his newborn daughter. But then he finds out that his mother-in-law has been doing something very strange to his daughter. What should he do? Am I the idiot for charging my mother-in-law with trespassing after she entered my home and fired my babysitter? I am a widower, I lost my wife, and 34, just minutes after she gave birth to our first baby, Sammy. She had a difficult pregnancy, so I took an indefinite leave 3 months before she was due. Sammy is 4 months old now, and before I went back to work, I told my mother-in-law, Sandra, 56, about my plans and if she can recommend a nanny to take care of my daughter when I work, but she offered to do it for free. I told her she's free to come by anytime during the day, if she feels uncomfortable with a nanny looking after Sammy, but she insisted on doing it herself. So I said yes and gave her a copy of the house keys. She comes in 30 minutes before I leave for work, and when I come home, she stays for dinner and leaves after putting Sammy to sleep. Everything was fine for the first couple of weeks, until I noticed that Sammy was not feeding as much, her formula is barely touched. I asked Sandra about it and why she isn't feeding Sammy's well. Then she said that she's trying to breastfeed my daughter. Excuse me? What the hell is she thinking? At first I thought she was joking, then I realized she wasn't. She said Sammy needs to latch for a few minutes every day to activate her milk production. Oh my god. I almost lost it. I told her she cannot do that, and she needs to stop. She said she would, but I caught her again when I walked in my daughter's room and she was forcing Sammy to latch her. I confronted her and told her she's no longer my baby's nanny. I didn't ask for the key back as she is still welcome to come visit anytime. Well, you should have. I asked for a 1-week leave from work to care for my daughter and find a nanny. I found one, but 2 days later she never returned. I called her and she said my, quote, mother fired her the day before. I asked her to describe the woman and I was livid when I realized it was Sandra. She came into my house using her key and fired my nanny. I was about to call her when she showed up and told a convoluted story like how I hired an incompetent nanny, etc. I told her to leave, but she refused and told me she's calling CPS because I am endangering my child. We argued back and forth before I called the police and she was charged with trespassing. I know my mother-in-law is grieving the loss of her daughter, I am too, but she crossed the line when she disregarded my wishes. She is very upset with me. My sister-in-law and brother-in-law are calling me ruthless and I am now second-guessing myself. Have I taken things too far by calling the police? Am I the idiot? OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the idiot. I think I am the idiot for calling the cops on my mother-in-law and hurting her in the process. I know she only did what she did because it's what she thought was right. I may have overreacted and I feel sorry, but she has to promise not to try to breastfeed my daughter again before I let her in my home. Oh my god. I can't believe what I just read. Dude, she crossed the line when she intentionally starved your daughter so she would have things her way. What the hell? No OP, you're not the idiot for forbidding your mother-in-law from trying to breastfeed your daughter. And you're not the idiot when you called the cops on her after she broke into your house, fired your nanny and then threatened to call CPS on you because you wouldn't let her breastfeed your daughter. Oh my god. Oh, correction, she was not breastfeeding yet. She was trying to make her produce milk so she would breastfeed the baby in the future, and in the meantime she was starving your daughter by not giving her formula. So her behavior has gone from creepy to negligent, and possibly dangerous. How long would she insist on it? Would she realize the danger she was putting her granddaughter in? Does she even care? I understand that the mother-in-law is mourning the death of her daughter, and maybe this is some kind of process to deal with it, and she sees it as her responsibility to fulfill this role since the baby's mother is no longer here, but there are healthier ways to do this. And the most dangerous thing about this situation is that she thinks she's right. She doesn't understand that what she was doing was wrong. Also, breaking into your house and firing your employee without your consent is already a big red flag, but combined with everything else, I really think that going no contact with her is the best option. Maybe even getting a restraining order, if necessary, because she doesn't seem like someone who listens to reason. And I really hope that brother-in-law and sister-in-law don't know the whole story, because if they do, and don't see your problem with it, or worse, they agree with her, then you might have to go no contact with all of your late wife's family. And what did you guys think of this whole situation? How would you deal with this if you were OP? Would you also call the police on mother-in-law? Now, don't forget to leave your thoughts down below, and let's read what the comments suggest, before we go to the update. Not the idiot, her trying to breastfeed your daughter without your permission, is gross and completely wrong. Beyond that, she fired your nanny? I'd ask for your key back and set some serious boundaries. Oh my God, not the idiot. Keep that crazy person away from your child, who cares if it's their grandparent. Not only was that so disgusting, but she was also starving your child. Not the idiot, babies need to be fed. What your mother-in-law did isn't a small thing. Babies need to be fed. If you don't feed a baby, it will die. This comes firmly under danger to yourself or others. Your mother-in-law is an active danger to your daughter. Maybe call the mental health or crisis services program in your area and find out what can be done. Mother-in-law may be having some type of mental health breakdown. If that is the case, there needs to be intervention, involuntary if necessary, but the police and legal system may be less appropriate than the mental health system. Change the locks. With the way she was hurdling over the boundaries you set, I wouldn't be surprised if she made copies. And make sure to tell the nanny not to let anyone in. I'm so sorry for your loss, OP. You are not to blame for this situation. Everyone has the right to grieve, but no one, no matter who they are, has the right to weaponize that grief and use it to hold you hostage. I'm so sorry. These people should be rallying around you to support you, not creating chaos. I hope you and your baby have support from your side of the family and hopefully the reasonable members of your wife's family. Holy cow, wow. Not the idiot obviously, but wow. This woman was trying to nurse your daughter, and then not feeding her when she is not producing milk? That is absolutely bizarre and harmful to the baby. Then she fired your nanny? Then threatened CPS? She is unstable and should not be left alone with your child. I'm so sorry for your loss, and I hope you can convince brother-in-law and sister-in-law to get this woman the help she needs. But protect your daughter from her. Good luck and all best. Well, and what about you guys? Do you agree with the comments? What else would you advise OP to do? Don't forget to leave your comments down below. Now let's see what OP did. Edit/update. Thank you everyone for your advice and showing concern for Sammy. I called CPS to tell them about the situation. My mom is coming over to help look after my daughter and look at our options. She's a retired family law attorney. I do have a doorbell camera, but reading some of the suggestions here, I decided to up my home security system. Brother-in-law and sister-in-law know the whole story, and they also think that forcing to breastfeed Sammy was wrong, but they are angry at me for calling the cops on mother-in-law and having her charged. They said it was unnecessary and cruel to do to a grieving mother. Well, I understand that your brother-in-law and sister-in-law are upset that mother-in-law was charged with trespassing. No one would like their parents in that situation, but what did they expect you to do? Your mother-in-law doesn't listen to reason and still thinks she didn't do anything wrong. I'm sorry things have come to this, but you have to think about what's best for your daughter and yourself. And if it's matter, I think you're doing the right thing. Good luck, OP. And what did you guys think of this update? Do you think OP made the right choice? Or do you think he overreacted with mother-in-law? Don't forget to leave your comments down below. Oh, and I hope you are enjoying the video so far. If so, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notifications to know when a new video is out. Now let's go to the next story. Am I the idiot for selling the house my ex and our kids live in? Long story short. My ex, her 2 kids from a previous relationship and our 2 kids live in my old house. I pay her child support and she pays me rent. She has a job and she gets child support from her first husband as well. 5 months ago she stopped paying rent, but I can't stop paying child support. I also have mortgage payments on that house as well as my new house. I cannot afford that. I tried talking to her, but all she says is that it's unfair that she is basically paying herself child support since I use her rent for that. I finally just sold the house. Quick and dirty sale. She can deal with the new landlord. I made a profit on the house. She is really pissed at me now. She says that I am making her and her kids homeless. I'm not. She has a lease. She also has 5 months of rent money she didn't pay me saved up. That's almost $8,000. Well, the situation itself seems simple. You have a house, you want to sell the house and you got a buyer, simple as that. If you have a tenant, you inform them about the sale and you set a date for this person to find a new place to live, or if the new owner intends to continue with the lease, the tenant will start paying the rent to the new owner, simple as that. But I understand that things get complicated because the tenant is your ex, not only your ex-wife, but also the mother of your children, who also lived in the house you sold. You tried talking to your ex and she refused. She probably thought you'd let her live there for free, because you have kids together. Bad idea. So, you found it easier to get rid of the problem altogether. That's it, sell the house. It seems fair. So, as long as the new owner doesn't throw her out of the house, and she and the children aren't left without a place to live, technically everything is fine, and you don't become the idiot of the story. But I still have a few questions. If she had to leave the property, and had nowhere else to go, would your kids move in with you? Would her other children live with their father? Do you have any relationship with your kids, or do you just pay child support? Perhaps this is not necessary to make a verdict for this post, but these are just things that got me thinking. Not the idiot. She broke the terms of her lease with you. She assumed that you would not evict her, which strictly speaking, you did not. What is more, nothing has changed. You still pay her child support. She still pays rent, just not to you. She says is that it's unfair that she is basically paying herself child support since I use her rent for that. LOL, she really wanted her cake and eat it too. Not the idiot. It's not like she can't still live there. She's just angry that she has to pay rent now. Not the idiot. Not the idiot. As long as your children have a roof over their head, and food to eat, there's no problem selling the house. Personally, I would take her to court for the back rent. Not the idiot. She has a lease, which is a contract. You have child support, which is in essence a contract. It's not up to her to dictate what you do with the rent payments, just like it's, to an extent, not up to you to dictate what she does with child support. I'm sure she would have thrown a fit if you stopped paying child support, because you're basically paying yourself rent. Her argument is ridiculous. You gave her chances to pay her rent, and she was taking full advantage of your relationship thinking she was protected because of the kids. And what do you guys think? What would you do if you were OP? Would you sell the house? Leave your comments down below. And that's it for today, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, go watch the video that is appearing on the screen right now or click on one of our playlists that are in the description to watch more videos. Until next time.